Boom.
On this week's expose, we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite road, the Witch's Road. The Witch's Road was created in the Marvel Comics in February of 2016 by James Robinson, Steve Dillon, and Chris Vision. In the Marvel Comics, the Witch's Road is basically kind of this magical dimension where this entity lives, which is basically the goddess of witchcraft. And then another thing that lives there is Chaos. Chaos is basically kind of the goddess of witchcraft's like assistant. So how does this coincide with our friends in 616? Shortly after this one time that Wanda left the Avengers, she felt like something was kind of wrong in the magical universe. So she's like, you know what, I should probably go to the Witch's Road and check it out. And you'll never guess who actually goes with her. None other than Agatha Harkness. But not the ghost. Agatha Harkness that is alive. Yeah, she's a ghost. A little ghosty Agatha. On the Witch's Road, they go through these trials. They have to fight a Minotaur. Shortly after they discover, kind of a Minotaur creature. Shortly after that, they discover another person that lives there. Her name is Natalie Maximoff, and she was the previous Scarlet Witch before Wanda. And then shortly after that, Agatha's like, you know what? This is not only just the previous Scarlet Witch, but that's your biological mommy. So they find that out. They go through a few other trials. They shortly after that, when they're done with their trials, they actually find out that Chaos is actually like killing the goddess of witchcraft. So all three of them together, Agatha's ghost, Natalie, and Scarlet Witch go and fight Chaos. They end up defeating it. Natalie, before she basically disintegrates and is no more, she gives Agatha Harkness her life back. And shortly after that, she gets all young and stuff and somehow resembles Catherine Hahn. But yeah, that's the Witch's Road. Also, currently, there's this person, I don't know if we're ever going to meet him, but one of Scarlet Witch's sons is on the Witch's Road right now. His name's Wiccan, I think, something like that. Yeah, maybe we'll meet him.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Anybody got a spell book? May she be strong and wise, and the best ever. May she be smart, not annoying.
She brings some Advil. I've missed you. I hate you.
Welcome to this week's Solving for X. My name is Sean. I'm your ultimate excavationist.
Oh, and I'm something of an X fan myself, Kevin.
And I'm Ryan, your astonishing X-Men stan.
And this very pleasant-looking, very happy person before you, Scott Butler, played the horrifying doctor in episode 3 of Agatha All Along. How are you, Scott? Yes, there you are.
There it
That
is.
is so awesome.
It's mini me.
Yeah.
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I have to tell you, for anybody who didn't know, so I went to the Uncanny Experience Villains Night, and you were a surprise guest there the same night that we actually recorded the 3rd episode.
Right.
And I remember they announced you, and I went back to look for you, and I was like, where's Scott Butler? And I see this nice-looking man by this table. I'm like, where is Scott Butler? And then finally I was like, wait a minute, I think that's him. And I came up and
You're looking for the
introduced myself.
mustache.
We had a great chat. Yeah.
They put me in a dark corner, which makes me wonder why. They just wanted to hide my ugly face or something. Maybe it was because in the show I'm in a dark corner too, so maybe they're just keeping on the theme. But yes, I don't have a mustache. I should probably get one. I'm doing Pasadena Comic-Con tomorrow. And I have thought about just getting one and sticking it on, because sometimes people say to me, oh, you got pictures of the Doctor from Agatha Along. Why? And I'm like, because that's me. And they're like, what? No, it's not. And I'm like, yes, it is. I have to prove it sometimes. So it's kind of silly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and were you an MCU like Marvel fan before working on Agatha, or has it just kind of grown from being on the show?
I started sort of becoming a fan. I wouldn't say I was like a super fan, like I knew all the whole like canon and all the the huge breadth of the fandom. But I started with Iron Man. I mean, I watched Iron Man and I was just blown away. And it was sort of one of those things where I think I saw it with a couple of friends, and we went to go watch it, and I was like, well, this is a really solid movie. This was great. This was really good. And it'd been a while since I'd seen Robert Downey Jr. in something, and I was just like really impressed. And then I started sort of following the movies. I will admit, though, before I auditioned for Agatha, which was actually in 2022 in November, it's a long time ago, that I'd seen probably about half of the movies and a little bit of the shows, coming up. But it was, since I worked on the show, booked it and worked on it, I definitely have been catching up. I watched, I'm halfway through Shang-Chi last night. So yeah, I'm doing my homework finally.
Nice.
Better late than never.
Okay, good. And Shang-Chi's a good one. I really like that movie, so I hope you like it.
Yeah. Yeah, loving it so far.
Mm-hmm. I also saw on your Instagram you also hate Labubu's.
Well, yeah. Well, what it is so I'm kind of a goofy character. I mean, even though I play villains a lot these days, I'm very silly. I just came from my acting class this morning, and we were just being ridiculous. But yeah, I'm quite silly with things. And when I went to which one was it? It was Florida SuperCon. I was at a booth, a friend's booth. They had me sort of as a guest there. And then when I was leaving, she gifted me this little Labubu, which I found out later was a fake one, a Lafufu. It was just this gray, weird critter thing that I hadn't really properly looked at. I'd seen them around, but I hadn't really properly looked at it. And then when I got to the airport and finally had a minute coming back to LA to sort of rest and take a minute, I pulled this thing out of my bag and I was like, what the hell is this thing? It's freaky looking. And then I was kind of in a silly mood, so I just decided to take a picture of me reacting to it. So it was me sort of So, and then I posted it up with, the regular, this freaky little thing, #Labubu. And I got so many views on that post. I was like, I need to incorporate more Labubu content in my Instagram. So I've done a thing now where at the conventions, like if you bring me a Labubu and I can do a photo reaction to it, I'll give you like a signed picture or something.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
Love it.
I love that.
Well,
I love
you
now
got
I
tons
have
of those. You need to bring
Labubu
it to the next
tomorrow.
convention. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring them in. Bring them in. I'll end up
All right.
making a negative profit tomorrow.
There we go.
Give away everything.
So
And there's
also while we were
Sean's
talking,
Labubu.
there's my boo-boo. There's one of my boo-boos.
Oh, nice. I'll be nice. Don't worry. I won't put him down. I'm sure he's a very lovely fellow.
This one's a she, Scott. So please don't.
Oh,
judge
sorry.
it.
To be fair, your webcam was a little soft. I couldn't quite tell. So.
Oh, okay.
It might.
Yeah, that's valid.
So while we were talking, you shared with me you have like this dream life. You work on video games by day and you're an actor by night. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah. I've been playing games since I was like 11, and I started sort of messing around with digital art. When I started, it was like typing it in binary. There was like no paint programs, so it was like I'm showing my age now. But I programmed my little 8-bit computer I had in the early 80s and made it so that you can move the joystick to draw lines and circles and things. And then I sort of progressed to paint stuff, and then I just got into it, and then I painted a picture of Madonna from the True Blue album cover, the one with the Marilyn Monroe hair and the jacket off the shoulders. I was probably about 15, I think. And no, about 16, yeah. And I took it to a local computer club across the road, literally, where you bring your Commodore Amiga and your CRT little monitor and all that kind of stuff, and showed a couple of friends, and somebody said, oh, did you paint that? And do you have anything else? And I said, yeah. And asked to, show him what else I had. And said, do you want a job in games? And I was like, I don't know. I work at the grocery store at Safeway's behind the register, Yeah. And then went home and told my mum. She said, you should do it. Video games and art are two of your things you like. My dad was against it. He actually said to me, that video game beep, beep, beep crap will be a fad and it's gone in 2 years. But, bless him, he admitted before he passed away that actually it was a good choice. And I moved out to the States for games. I transferred from PlayStation London as art director to PlayStation San Diego. And 6 years after that, in 2008, got laid off with the Great Recession and decided to try an acting class just to sort of get used to doing public speaking, because I was always nervous doing presentations and things like this. And then I got to the class, put my hand on the door handle before going in and chickened out and drove off a mile and then stopped and said, nope, you're the type that checks everything out. Go back. So I went back and all these things wouldn't have happened. Wouldn't have met you lovely guys. So
See?
Nice.
That's amazing.
Glad
That's
it worked
awesome.
out. Yeah. Did you have any questions, Rai?
Yeah, Scott, I was going through your IMDb page, and it quite hefty, honestly. Congrats on that. Honestly, you have quite a resume. And I see that you've had, a few reoccurring roles on the Omegas, Hollywood Heels, Star Trek. Is there any role that you'd like to repeat again that you played before, besides Judge Brown's assistant that I see you've played twice in Wiener Dog National and Wiener Dog International? Yeah.
let me just say, those were super fun movies. When you're around a really fun, sweet, family comedy sort of movie with little dogs running around. I mean, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
It may not go all to plan with little animals running around, but it's a lot of fun. But yeah, that was a wonderful little couple of movies with Morgan Fairchild and Brian Batt and a whole bunch of people, Jason London. But yeah, funny enough, actually, Hollywood Hell, which was nominated for an Emmy, a regional Emmy, was a really fun role. And I did that back when I started acting. I was quite new. And it was a web series for San Diego State University. And I played Jack the Ripper. And it was fun because it was all about this, Hollywood producer who dies in a car accident, goes to hell because he's a bit of an a-hole. And then sort of says, I'd like to go upstairs because, it's a lot nicer up there. And Satan said, you can go up, I can send you up the elevator, but I want you to produce a movie for me down here in hell. And he's like, well, who am I going to cast in the show? And he says, well, we have lots of lost souls here. So audition all these people. So Adolf Hitler was auditioning, Jack the Ripper was auditioning, all these crazy people. And it was a blast. My girlfriend at the time broke up with me the night before we started shooting, and I suddenly had to do a comedy. So I had no sleep. I was miserable, and I thought this is going to be a test to see if I can do stuff under extreme circumstances. Mm-hmm. And we did it, and we had a blast. And yeah, got nominated for regional Emmy. So that'd be fun. I'd enjoy that. But definitely Agatha. Yeah, that'd be fun too.
Yeah, more Doctor.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of story there that obviously hasn't been told yet. So they sort of highlighted it a little bit on episode 4 and 8, I think it was. The binding stuff, but yeah, there's definitely more to tell there. The history.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I do a lot of theater, but I never pursued full-on acting in movies and anything because I thought it was so daunting. I feel like I don't have the sentiment to deal with not sure when my next gig would be. So I'm like, what would your advice be to someone like me who's just unsure?
In general, I definitely think you have to be in love with the idea of acting, and because it is a grind, regardless of how you're set up financially, other jobs, things like that. But you got to kind of love it. I mean, it's a thing that I didn't used to do. I was 36 when I started, and so I never really thought about it. I think it popped up in my mind when I was a kid, but nothing really happened, But to go on that journey, you've got to sort of be in love with it because you have to kind of frame your mind around how that journey is going to be. It's going to be, you got to have somewhat of a thick skin, right? You've got to be sort of okay with, rejection, not booking the job or, getting feedback and stuff like that. But, if it's something that you really love, and I really recommend not doing it for money or fame, right. I recommend doing it because because it's a
passion.
blast, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we shot, my stuff on Agatha, it was 2 day shoot in Atlanta, Georgia. And when I drove home from set that day after the second day and we wrapped and they did the whole like, that's a wrap on Scott Butler, I was just buzzing with energy. It was just like, that was so much fun. That was so cool just to be this little piece, this little intense, weird piece of this show, that I really couldn't sleep well that night because I was just like on fire, just buzzing with energy. And I thought that this is the right reason to do it because it was creative, it was fun, it was cool, it was interesting, it was... And everyone was so incredibly passionate, about making a really good show. Very story-driven, very character-driven, almost zero CGI. It was almost all practical effects and sets. And I'm a little old school, so I like that stuff, even though I do 3D art, But it's, you've got to... And the last thing I'll say, too, to your question is, you got to think about the day-to-day journey rather than like, I want to be here in 3-5 years, or start comparing yourself to other people that started the journey around the time you have, because that will drive you insane. You can't do that. Right. You have to just go, all right, tomorrow's a new day. I mean, literally, I wake up with an email on here saying you have a Marvel audition. And I'm like, all right, this is cool. I'll do this, have fun with it. And then now here I'm on a podcast with cool people. So... you just never know what each day is going to bring. You just got to keep at it and keep a good attitude.
Love that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And in addition to acting, you just had Croc Legend of Gabos just got re-released in December, which you worked on. What did that look like for you? Oh, there he is.
I thought I'd just line the table with toys because I figured they're going to use them. What's funny is I've gotten labeled now the Croctor.
Nice.
Where's that art? You need an art of mashup of that art.
Yeah. We need to make that. Yeah, well, I'll get on that. But my booth, my table, my booth at the Comic Cons is always a bit weird to explain because people look at it and go, "All right, you've got Agatha, which I know what that is, and I know Croc. So were you an actor on Croc?" He's like, "No." So let me explain. So yeah, it's a bit confusing. So sorry, your question about Croc was what was it?
Oh, yeah. What was your involvement on Croc coming to be?
Oh, on the remaster. Yeah. So basically, the original game was made in 97. It was 95 through 97. I was in my 20s. And, after several years, I think it was probably into the late 2000s, early 2010s, especially with like a lot of social media and stuff popping up, a lot of people were starting to comment and say, would there ever be a remaster or a remake of Croc? It's been around for a long time. And it's sort of a classic. It was number one for a while in a lot of places. Oh. And, my answer has always been, because, I long left that company. It was like, I don't know, it'd be cool. It'd be great, I can definitely imagine, a modern version of Croc. And it got to a point as sort of time went on where I was getting asked that maybe 50, 100 times a year. And I was like, I'm not super like chatting every day with all the original Argonaut people, Croc people, but, it's sort of, I started to see like that kind of message spreading a little bit. And then Jez San, the owner of Argonaut, commenting on it a little bit and things like that. And then, around 2023, probably early 2023, I think it was, I started getting contacted by one of the producers. And sorry, hiccups. And they said, would you be interested in, just consulting with us? Obviously you're working for another company, you're doing other things, but could you at least consult, and help us sort of understand a little bit how it was put together and, the sort of things that you dealt with. And then there'll also be, a crockumentary, as they called it, us Brits with our puns. So they said, would you mind being a little part of that too? So I said yes. So it was about a year of consulting, just messages back and forth, trivia, like, do you remember this? How was this done? And I'll be honest with you, it's been so long. I mean, it's almost 30 years ago that, some of my memory is a bit fuzzy on it. It was like, I think this is how that was done, but don't quote me on that. Yeah.
Very nice. I'm definitely going to check it. I didn't play it when it first came out, but I know it's like legendary. Like a lot of people love it. Definitely going to get it on the Switch. So thank you for making that happen.
See?
Yeah, I was only a small part of it. The whole team worked on bringing it over, but I was happy to provide sort of insight on it. But I have it on the Switch as well. They gave me a a code for it, and it plays beautifully. It's a 4K 60 frames a second, and it just looks crisp. It's not a full remake, it's a remaster, so it's high resolution, it's smoother, it's got better textures, better models, and that kind of stuff. So it looks nice, but it really feels like the original Croc. You're not sort of getting like some remake that doesn't sort of hold on to the nostalgia and the vibe of it. It absolutely has that completely, and it has options in it where you can switch it back to like low resolution CRT mode, even the wonky controls that we had back in the day, which was our one sort of thing that popped up in reviews, that the controls were a little wonky at times, but they've got a modernized version of it in there too, which really makes that very modern and fun to play. So it's a very complete product. It's really cool.
Nice, very cool. One other thing that we talked about in person, which I haven't told the boys yet, I was so fascinated when you were telling me everything you put into making the Doctor scary. Do you mind kind of going over like the things you brought into the role?
Please.
Yeah, sure. So about 8-9 years ago, I did this low budget horror film called The Campus, which was really, really fun to work on. I made some really great friends on that movie. And it was the first time I played something supernatural. It was like a masked character. So you couldn't rely on any facial expressions. I had like one eye hole that I could see through, with this mask on. And, like a lot of my, friends and people I know always think of me as this sort of friendly guy who wears glasses, the last 15 years. And, but I really have a crazy imagination, I think, from making games and also getting into acting. So, when they asked me to be like this supernatural killer, which is obviously very, very far from who I am, I thought that'd be fun. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I'm down for that, So I was, in the darkness, I was chasing this girl played by Rachel Amanda Bryant, who's a great friend, great actress. And I've got this big knife. It's like a 12-inch knife on me, like, just glinting it in the light as I'm kind of like, walking after her and all this kind of stuff. And there's this moment in it where I kind of trap her in this dead end area, this sort of alleyway, and thinking that, I've got her, right? And then she tries the door behind her and it's unlocked, and she goes in and it's got a glass window, and she kind of locks it, in front of her in a sort of like screw you kind of moment. The tables are turned. And there's this weird moment because I have no face. I'm just sort of standing there and I'm kind of like, and I just do this thing where I just like point like this with the finger. And then she looks behind her and there's another one of my guys there. And she's like, screams and she's like, in trouble. And when I drove home from set that night at like 4 a.m., I thought that was fun doing something weird like that. So I started looking into like mime and creature classes, because when I was driving home, I thought I've been spending decades animating characters in games. You take them like this, pose them, and then sort of move them around and stuff. Why not animate myself? That was kind of like the weird light bulb moment. So I started looking into classes and doing those. And then when it came to, I did some, roles in shows that utilize that very fully. Like I played the Wolf, the main sort of boogeyman in the movie Hypochondriac with Zach Villa, which was at South by Southwest. And that was very sort of creature specific, even though he technically is a man in a costume, but he's sort of depicting this wolf. And then when it came to Agatha, even though he's a human and he's not really a creature of any sorts, but it's a supernatural moment. It's a hallucination or a flashback, whatever. And to be honest with you, I had like no information when I was auditioning for it. So it was just kind of like, this is the scene, just do this, I thought I'd like to put a little bit of that stuff in there, even though he's human. So it didn't really sort of say much. He just said he has his back to her, then he turns around and does this thing. But I, put my arms out like this, which, as you learn in mime, you create a bigger shape, which creates more power. Because everything, that whole switch where she's in the kitchen, she runs out to get something in the pantry, she comes back in. It's only a few seconds, that switch. That was all done for real in camera. That was not a cut.
Yeah.
So, I was standing like shoulder to shoulder with the DP, and the DP was saying, as soon as the lens goes past this corner of the wall, run. And Rachel, the director, she yells out, "Scott, go!" And I run in, put the bag down, which you barely see because I kind of block it a little bit, but put the bag down, get in position and do the whole scene. And that was all like a 4-second gap of setting up and looking like you haven't just run in, you just suddenly appear. And it was super fun. It was very sort of Hitchcock the way it was shot.
Love it.
And so for the audition, I did this stuff with that. And then, he has his back to her. which obviously is a bad defensive position. If you have fear of having your back to somebody, you would turn around immediately. So I thought to myself, take your time turning around. Wait a few seconds and then turn slowly. Show that you are in power. And because I had my hands on the countertop of the kitchen, it was also by physically touching it, which it didn't say in the script. I wanted to establish the fact that this is my domain now. This moment has switched. This is my domain. She's not touching or physically contacting, except for her feet, the environment. So it kind of does this switch. And then when I turn my head slowly to look at her and then turn my body, that's how predators circle their prey, like lions circle their prey. They keep their eyes locked on them, but they sort of like move back and forth like this, as they circle them. And so there's just little subtle things I wanted to put in there that I didn't want them to be too theatrical, too weird, but they just needed to be just a little bit off. That just sort of says to people that this guy's a little creepy. I don't know what's going on here.
Job well
It
done.
worked.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you so much for going through that. I loved hearing that, and I couldn't wait for them to hear it too.
Beautiful.
All right. Before we start our gossip sesh, did anybody else have any other questions for Scott?
I think we're good.
No. We've grilled him enough.
Interview over.
Yeah.
Now we can shoot the shit.
See you later.
All right. Let's get into our sinister gossip sesh of doom.
Sinister
Sesh of doom. I just wanted to share this. I started finally reading the book Dracula. It's been on my list for a long time, and I thought it was so funny because just today I got to this part where they talk about what he can turn into, and it is a rat, an owl, a bat, a moth, a fox, and a wolf. So very similar to the Salem 7.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Very cool.
Another little
My
piece of
co-villains.
information. Yeah.
I
we
got
also
to meet
learned-
some of those. I got to meet some of those actresses. They were incredible. They're
Oh,
amazing.
nice.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was a little Q&A at Scum and Villainy in Hollywood when the episodes were airing, and they were just
cool.
they're amazing. They were dancers and movement artists. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah, they're
Oh,
amazing.
no.
That's perfect.
I've been meaning to get to those, but it's always hard because I live like right outside LA, so all the traffic and everything. Yeah. But on Power of X-Men, we got a little more from Paul with Chris Claremont. The sinister answer has finally been given. We've heard little bits and pieces of it, but Chris Claremont has said that Sinister is an 8-year-old child who makes like almost, he called it AI, but like what would you call that? Like Mr. Sinister is from his mind. He's not a real person.
Yeah.
It's an 8-year-old kid projecting this villain, and that's why he looks so
Like a
crazy and
manifestation.
ridiculous. And apparently, this little 8-year-old kid who's stuck at 8 all his life, that's part of his mutant power, cloned himself into a older body in order to get close to the X-Men and to destroy them from the inside. And originally, that clone was Gambit. Gambit was supposed to be a clone of Mr.
Wow.
Sinister. That's why he has the red eyes. And Claremont said that there was another rumor that Gambit was going to be the third Summers brother, and that was never in his original plan. He was never supposed to be a Summers brother. So we finally have our answer on Gambit and Sinister.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like this 8-year-old child thing, but the rest of it sounded really cool. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never liked the 8-year-old child story. It's a little bit weird to me.
Yeah.
For Sinister, yeah, that's odd.
Yeah.
But we're also talking about the man that wanted to make Kitty Pryde like turn. But wasn't she gonna like turn black or something?
What? I've never heard that.
Like she was going to like. I'm on it. Hold on. Yeah. Go ahead.
Is that a fag check?
Ooh, girl, you got fag check.
Hey.
Not yet. Not yet. No.
Okay.
But maybe she was supposed to be like Storm and Black Panther's kid or something. I don't know.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting on that, Scott, our question last week, if the Witch's Road was to be covered, would you rather it be covered by Dazzler, who's a pop artist, Lila Cheney, who's a rock artist, Luna Snow, who's K-pop, or the Mary Janes, who are punk?
That's interesting. I think I might have to go with punk. I was thinking K-pop because it'd be interesting, but I don't know. I grew up in the 80s in the UK, so there's a lot of punk going on.
There you go.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd be interested in a punk version. I think it would be pretty like loud and crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
I
funny thing is, when the episode came out for Agatha, I had a couple of people ask if I was Mr. Sinister.
really.
Oh,
Yeah.
I could
Wow.
see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not.
make a
I'm
good
nowhere.
Sinister.
I'm like half the size of the guy, but because I think his name's Nathaniel Essex, right? And
Mm-hmm.
my nickname. I actually grew up near Essex in the UK, and my
Oh.
nickname was Essex Boy because I drove this awful Ford Escort with blacked out windows and everything, and everyone was like, "You're such an Essex boy." And it was funny when I looked at Mr. Sinister. I thought, okay, I'd need to bulk up a heck of a lot, but but yeah, I guess like dark hair, have to work on the features a bit, but yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Very
I
loose.
I've
could
been
see
to
it
Essex.
actually.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, you are a man after my own heart because, as everybody knows, I'm a punker at heart too. I grew up on punk, so yeah, we'd probably have a lot of bands in common.
I did have an interesting punk thing. I years ago, the same director who did that film where I did that, masked character thing, Jason Horton, who's a fantastic filmmaker. We were working with a bunch of animators for a show pitch called Punk Rock Possum, and I played
Oh my
the
gosh.
titular character, and he was all punk, Union Jack shirt, the spiked bracelets and everything, and he was like, "I'm Punk Rock Possum, I'm awesome," he was all crazy, and
I love
it
it.
was super fun. And although sadly the show didn't become a thing because the company had some issues, whatever, but we got to be the in between songs thing that was on the big projector screen for the Ramones for the Rock the MS concert. So there was Punk Rock Possum being shown to hundreds of people, whoever many were there, and doing his crazy thing. And I'm sure it was pretty wild having that up there in between stuff. Because like, who's this crazy possum on the screen?
Yeah.
So
sounds
yeah,
amazing.
I had to sort of like figure out my like punk persona, and I ended up writing the lyrics for and singing the Punk Rock Possum song, which was super fun. So that was a blast. You definitely lose your voice after doing that for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Well, let's see how this shook out. So 0% voted for Luna Snow, so nobody wants K-pop. Sadly for me and Scott, only 18% said punk with the Mary Janes.
Boo.
I know, right? For Lila Cheney rock, we had 27%, but Dazzler pop 55%, the clear winner. Everybody loves Dazzler. We love our Dazzler.
Amen.
I
She's
like
probably
pop
the most
too.
well
I grew up
known
on pop.
too.
Mhm.
We're friends of Dazzler.
That's the shirt I was wearing when I met Scott.
See?
All right.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into our episode. So this is Darkest Hour, Wake Thy Power. This aired 10/29/2024. Written by Laura Monti, Jack Schaefer, and Jason Rostovsky. Directed by Rachel Goldberg. Ryan. Oh, did you find an answer on the fact check, by the way?
No, I don't know. Yeah,
All right, we'll let it go.
No.
All right, get us
Yeah.
into the scene.
no, yeah. All right. Screams can be heard throughout the Witch's Road. Some familiars are on the lookout for our witches. It's the Salem Seven. They find the crystal left behind by the coven.
Lilia awakens with a start.
Oh.
She senses the Salem.
Wait.
Oh, did I jump ahead?
I just want to say some stuff after that scene.
Go for it.
Getting ahead of myself.
It's okay. You're like, yeah. So the Salem Seven came out of the same spot that Rio entered. So that was the door, which was kind of fun to notice. The crystal was actually an obsidian. That was the same one that Lilia left when they did the Green Witch spell. And it's interesting because obsidian is a protective kind of stone that like wards off negative energies and psychic attacks, and it also helps with like grounding and earth energies and forming a solid spiritual foundation. So that was really kind of interesting to think about. And then I loved Jen's face mask made out of leaves when they were sleeping. So yeah, that was just a cute little thing to notice.
Yeah. That was good.
Okay, I'm done. I don't know if anyone else says anything, but sorry.
I just loved it. I thought this was a really creepy scene, and yeah, I love that they came from where Rio came. So very cool.
Yeah. Good
Yeah,
attention to
the
detail.
opening of that episode was very dark, wasn't it? Because I think it started on the road with all the animals coming in, and I actually, when the show is coming out, because I don't know what the rest of the show is going to be like or looks like, because you just told this bit, right? Being a horror fan, I really loved the beginning of that episode, and I ended up grabbing a little bit of it, like 20 seconds, 15 seconds, and just posting on Instagram, because it was like people that I know a lot of horror fans. There's a lot of horror fans out there, and even though the show isn't all horror, it definitely has some spooky moments. And I wanted people to like sort of see like there's some dark stuff in here. This goes a little darker than a lot of the Marvel stuff. So check it out. If you're a fan of that, you might kind of enjoy this.
Yeah.
Wow, so you're into punk, you're a horror fan, you're a Star Wars fan because I see Star Wars behind you. Like, we are kind
I
of
have more helmets over there too.
Nice.
I'm definitely an 80s kid. Yeah.
All right, we can
All
move
right,
to
me
scene
now?
2. Yeah.
Okay. Lilia awakens with a start. She senses that the Salem Seven have found them through the remnants of the summoning spell. The door was left open. Lilia says that when Agatha killed her original coven, Rio interrupts and adds, because Agatha's mother tried to kill her. Lilia finishes the story. Agatha spared the Seven's children. They formed the Salem Seven and are bent on revenge.
You're good at reading. I may have to add you to my list of people to hire to come read Lord of the Rings to me.
I'll be an actor. I'll think about it.
Okay. All right. The witches rush into the forest. They hear the Seven's bestial growls all around them. The coven starts to gather tree roots to cast a spell. Jen admires Lilia's handiwork, but Lilia is not impressed with Jen's. The first of the Seven attacks. Agatha staves him off, and they finish the spell. The coven uses their roots to fly into the night.
So this was the Hexenbesen, which is a German word for witch's broom, which is fun. And I have a translation of the spell they use, the Latin. It's in English. It says, "For you, beloved, I open the way." And I just loved that they had to like kind of like gift each other the brooms. It's a really cool ritual, a really cool bonding moment. Alice and Teen are super cute.
Yes.
And even like, I love Alice stepping up too, and like broom slapping the Salem Seven away, being that protection witch. It was really great to see.
Yeah, I agree.
I bet that was a fun scene to shoot. To do the whole starting to ride the brooms and then doing all the green screen with the whole fly over the Witch's Road, the blue screen. It looked like super fun. I saw the BTS where they're riding on the brooms up on the thing, elevated up.
Yeah.
They were like, I don't want to get down. I'm having too much fun up here.
Yeah. On the behind the scenes making, Patty LuPone suggested that she may have hurt her back flying, but she was too professional to admit anything. She's like, I'm fine, I'm cool.
She's a professional.
Yeah.
And she'll let you know that.
Yeah.
All right, so scene 4. Alice tells the witches they need to get off the road. The coven fly up into the sky overlooking the road. They E.T. across the blood moon. Very E.T. I love it.
Very.
Teen wonders why they haven't been flying all along. Just then the witches are turned upside down and forced back down to the road. Rio does a great Wicked Witch impression. Yes,
she does.
Love that. The cackle. The coven are led to their next trial. They blast right through one of the 7 to get there. This was Vertigo, the leader of the Salem 7. And it's interesting because there's cicadas coming out of her mouth. I'm sorry to bring this up again. uh, but maybe she doesn't turn into the animals like the other ones. Maybe she just like summons cicadas.
So when in the Marvel comics, Cicada is the only one that, because the other Salem Seven like transform into like
and she
half
didn't,
beast
right?
and stuff like that, but she stays like a beautiful black woman witch like throughout, and everyone
Yeah.
else changes constantly. So, or
Interesting.
like they can use magic when they're not like their beast form, and then when they're in beast form they're just super strong and like have like other abilities.
Nice.
Did you know that
Okay.
the scene with the little silhouettes, the ET shot going past the moon, that was done with puppets?
Really?
Ah,
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
they
everybody
made
That's
loves
they
funny.
made
puppets.
little they made little sort of like maquettes, little puppets of each character on little like sticks or wires or something, and then they sort of fanned them over and then rubbed out. They had wind blowing through it, I think, because there's pictures of it. If you look online, you can find pictures of the little puppets. And
Oh,
it's really
Okay.
cool. It's just another thing that I love about the way the show was made. It was going back to like old school filmmaking. Even
Yeah.
the beach house, the one I live in,
The
is a
miniatures.
miniature.
Yeah.
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 yeah,
Yeah. We love that.
so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The coven finds themselves in an 80s style house. Everyone is in 80s chic. Agatha tells them they're okay now. Jen doesn't agree. The seven are out there and ready to attack. Teen realizes that his spellbook is gone. It must have fallen off while they were flying.
So, are you going to ask us the question you like to ask us at
Makeover.
this point?
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say first, who's that? What's everyone's favorite makeover? And then, Kevin, do you want to tell us about the fashion?
I don't have any like real fashion things this time around. Just that there's influence. Because I think this is more of a general look of just 80s horror cabin in the woods kind of vibes.
Hmm.
But like, okay, I'll just go with it. Teen is my favorite in the makeover. It's so Wiccan. It's so Little Billy's Halloween costume from WandaVision, but also with like a Johnny Depp Nightmare on Elm Street flair, like a little twist to it. So it's so
Yes.
good to me.
What about you, Sean?
Um, it was very simple, but because it was on Catherine Hahn, Agatha, the oversized shirt was just so funny to me with the side pony, because I was like, this is so un-Agatha like that it made me like it on her. So I think she
Yeah.
was my favorite.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a good look. It kind of gave her a softer look,
Yeah.
for one of the
Yeah.
episodes. A little less in control, but more sort of like one of the clan. But yeah, I
And
love the '80s vibe with all the colors in there and the lighting and all the sort of nostalgic games and things in the background and stuff. And then the music kind of kicks in with the sort of like '80s synth. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah,
love that she
it
had
was
zero
great.
3 on her shirt, so it's kind of representing the Maiden Mother Crone of her necklace.
Ah,
You
Oh.
know,
see that?
so there you go.
Clever.
Mm-hmm.
And also, did you notice that her necklace was actually a
Yeah,
bracelet now?
yeah,
And it
yeah.
was like kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a friendship bracelet, but that was like the charm in the middle of it. It was really cool. I like what they did with
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite makeover, Scott?
I mean, I like them all. I definitely like the real sort of '80s, vibe that Han had, and Aubrey Plaza. I think I like them all. My favorite, era is the '80s. I was 8 through 18 years old through that era, so I was the perfect age for all that stuff. So I'm constantly reminiscing about most of my music on my phone is '80s music. So yeah, I just love the whole vibe. I was just lapping it up. It was cool with the little colored Casio watches and things, or whichever one it was,
Yeah.
but they had the same watches. It was cool. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
All right. Is it on to me now? Okay.
Yes.
Rio recognizes the trial. It's Agatha's. Teen thought this was Lilia's trial. She explains, common misconception. She reads people, not the dead. A Ouija board suddenly appears. They have to use it to complete the trial. teen reads the rules aloud. Most importantly, do not taunt the spirits. You must not take your hand off of the planchette, or the spirit will be released.
Ages 3 and up.
Yep, ages 3 and up. What is the temperature in the room? How do we feel about Ouija boards? Do we believe in them, and are we scared of them?
I will say that I have had a couple of spooky things happen in my life. Back in the UK, some actual visual apparitions and stuff.
Wow.
But I've told this story to, there's actually two visual ones and one that was an object that moved. But I've told these stories to friends. But I kind of believe there's a lot more out there that we don't understand, and I'm a very curious person. So I actually ask this story. It's a little bit similar to the Ouija board thing. I ask this question to people sometimes. Like, I'm a UFO nut. I love the idea of aliens, UFOs, all that kind of stuff. And I ask friends sometimes, like, if you saw an actual UFO land, several hundred feet or whatever away, would you want to go and investigate it even if you're alone, or would you run away? So, like, for me, I'm a curious person. I think I'd want to check it out, which is a really bad idea, I'm sure. But
no, I would too.
Yeah, I think for the Ouija board, I'd be curious, but I know that, I personally think there's more out there that's, I'd be worried about the consequences.
Yeah.
I've used them. I like them. I have the curiosity for them, but it all depends on the mental state. So if you go in there looking for like demonic things or looking to be scared, that's where problems seem to happen. If you go in more optimistic, you'll kind of get that back. A lot of magical practices use the Ouija boards or the talking boards or the spirit boards to actually access one's subconscious a lot of the time. So there's that. And I have there's an interesting history about them because they were gained real popularity in the 1920s after World War I, because families were trying to contact the loved ones that were lost in World War I. And it became just like a normal game they played at the end of the day. But yeah, I think there are ways to protect yourself. There are precautions. Just do it smartly.
Yeah.
Smartly.
So I've used a Ouija board twice, and I was kind of scared because, growing up in like the 80s, you get kind of a fear of them. But nothing happened either time. I'm not as afraid of them today just because I feel like they're a tool, like Kevin kind of said. Like, if you use tarot cards, you're tapping into spirits. If you use, I have an app on my phone that brings up words that the spirits are supposedly saying. I'm tapping into the same thing I am with the Ouija board. I just think there's bad spirits out there. So anytime you mess with spirits, there's a slight chance you could attract one. But I think for the most part, spirits are pretty good in nature. They just like to pick on people. And I too, Scott, grew up in a haunted house with things moving. I saw things move. I heard things move. So I definitely believe there's more out there. But I also think a lot of spirits just do it to mess around, just have fun.
They need to entertain themselves in the afterlife,
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. If someday when our end is there, right, and you turn into a ghost and you're given a choice to just kind of go into the light or to stay here and mess with people, what would you do? Because I've often thought about that. I'm not a vindictive person. I'm quite friendly, but there's definitely a couple of people on my list.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably be like a pervy ghost and go sit in people's rooms and watch them touch them. So no, I'd probably go into the light.
We went there already. Holy shit.
We go there often on this pod, yeah.
I think I just prank them. I'd move stuff around. Just make them
there you go.
think they're losing their mind.
You're both Trevor from Ghost. If you watch the show Ghosts, it's so fun.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah.
I probably would screw with people too, though. Like just have some fun with them. But then probably also be like Sean too, and maybe peek my head into some bedrooms and stuff like that.
You're a pervert.
One of the first things I'd want to do is go check out places I'm not supposed to be in, like go to like Area 51 or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You could like just drift in there and see what's happening. Now, of course, maybe everything's been moved and it's somewhere else now because there's too much of a spotlight on Area 51. But it'd be cool to go into like deep government facilities and find out what crazy things are going on. I'm just a curious person.
Yeah. I do have more to say about this scene because according to John Collins, the production designer, this is supposed to be the air trial, hence the hex and besom and the high ceilings. Although most sources will say that the air trial is Lilia's, and that this is the trial of spirit. So what do you guys think?
I feel it was definitely Agatha's trial, because she was confronting her past.
Okay, well, I'm not asking about Agatha's trial at the moment. I'm just asking, do you think this is the air trial or do you think this is the spirit trial?
Oh, spirit trial.
Spirit trial, definitely. Just because, I mean, yeah, ghosts are made of air, I guess, but I don't know. Why? What do you? Yeah, tell us why we're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You know where I was going. I think the majority of sources are wrong. I think the easy answer would be that this is a spirit trial, and I think because air is often associated with swords, and which is heavily in Lilia's trial, and that you literally see ghosts in this episode, I think that the obvious answer is spirit. And then on a surface level, I would think that they could be interchangeable, but magic is more nuanced than that, and knowing what I know about Jack Schaefer, there is meaning in everything, and they go deeper for these shows, and, to even put the big clue in there, it's like most people think this is Lilia's trial, it's a misconception. My main reason for disagreeing is because in tarot, air represents the conscious mind, intellect, logic, dealing with conflict, decisions, and communication. And spirit is the intangible, higher consciousness, divine energy, and the intuitive connection accessed during a reading. It represents the major arcana and the overarching wisdom of the deck. So when you think about what those two mean in tarot, it is totally, this is air and that's spirit.
I feel like that took a lot out of you, Kev. Like while you were saying that, like I was thinking about it a lot because I was so confused for a lot of the time when I thought about this. I'm like, all right. So, but with these shows, with Jack Schaefer shows, you can't take everything at face value because there's always something deeper. There's always something hidden. There's a puzzle to be had.
It's amazing when you watch the show a second time, the amount of things that you sort of connect with that you didn't notice or make a connection with in the first round. It's quite fascinating. It's interesting because it makes it a really fun rewatchable show, but it's also like a great idea because people stream it for more. So going through watching it a second, even a third time, you're like, oh, I didn't even notice that. Like, well, there's something there. It's just it's very beautifully written. It's very complex and
really
fascinating.
Is.
Yeah.
Is
So
Jack
now,
doing?
do you agree with me?
Yes.
Jack doing what?
Is Jack Schaefer doing? Are they doing Vision Quest as well?
I don't know what Jack's involvement is at all. I know nothing beyond what the public reads and hears. But I don't know. I'm not sure actually. I've only recently been sort of starting to read up on Vision Quest, but yeah, I'm not sure. I got to meet her when I first got into my whole makeup and get up and stuff, and she's really amazing. They got a knock on the door, and Daniel Sellon, the costume designer, and Jack was standing there, and because I'm in the honey wagon, I'm like 3 feet higher than them and looking really weird and spooky, and flipped the door open, and then Jack looks at me and up like this, and she goes, "Oh yeah, that's gonna work," and she goes, lose the glasses. I want to see those dark eyes of his. And I was so happy because I was like, yeah, let's get rid of the glasses. Let's do the spooky eye stuff.
Awesome.
So she was amazing. She was really cool.
So I just checked
So
in. It says that Jack is not involved, actually.
yeah,
Oh,
Ah,
all
okay.
right.
I found the same.
Um,
Well, that's
oh,
too bad.
I also wanted to
It'll still
say
be good though.
it was
Definitely.
Notice in every trial, Teen is the one that reads the instructions or the clues. I just think that's an interesting observation too.
All right. The coven try to guess who the board will connect them with from Agatha's past. Agatha feigns that it could be literally anybody. The coven starts the seance. The planchette starts to move. Agatha asks who they are speaking with. The board answers, Mrs. Hart. The girls try to speak to her. Suddenly, the planchette rips itself from Lilia's hands. Agatha starts to go a wiggly and is suddenly possessed by Mrs. Hart. She starts talking about casseroles, Facebook, and drinking before noon. Teen points out she's Sharon Davis. Agatha admits she was faking it for farts and laughs.
So is it Mrs. Hart or Mr. Shart? That's what I want to know.
I like Mr. Shart.
So I was thinking about this. How funny would it be if Sharon Davis actually made it to this challenge, and when she came through the store, she was dressed in Kitty Foreman garb?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like, I know that's 70s, this is 80s, but it still would be pretty freaking funny.
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
She's still got the same wardrobe, coming into the 80s.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like no sense of going shopping after you have a good wardrobe in your closet.
How on point was her impression? It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty
so
good.
good. It fooled me at first. I thought she's actually been possessed by her for a second. I was like, "What's going on?"
Right?
Whip that hair. I think it's funny too because if you look, the Ouija board said Parker Brothers, Salem, Massachusetts, which I love that connection. But it also really was the headquarters for the company. So that's another kind of just fun thing.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Who's it on now?
Oh, me. Okay.
Kevin.
So let me move some of this over. All right. Agatha sits back down to start the true seance. The lights flicker. She asks who is here with them. D-E-A-T-H. Death. And Ria just goes, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
She just laughs in the air. They ask what it wants. Punish. Who do you want to punish? Agatha. And it just goes over and over. Agatha tries to stop it, but it reappears.
I think reappears.
Agatha.
I don't know.
Reappears. There it goes. I'm like, okay. But it reappears
Pointing
Agatha over and over. Keep spelling it over and over. A-G-A-T-H-A. She lets go of the board and the room flies into chaos and screams. Jen announces it wants them to punish Agatha. She gets very intense. And the room is suddenly still. Jen is all for punishing Agatha for being a bitch. Teen tries to stop the witches as they plan on how to punish her.
Jen grabs a rope and prepares to tie up Agatha. When they return their attention to her, Agatha's gone. The lights suddenly go out. Heavy breathing is heard. Teen feels a drip on him and looks up. Agatha is all possessed looking and in the rafters. She literally looked I feel like when she gets possessed, she looks very Exorcist, like very
Yeah, for sure.
like almost spot on. Yeah. Okay. She drops down and goes all deadite on everyone. Jen grabs her attention, and Agatha starts to choke her.
Dads
got more
always like to
Evil
get
Dead
their
2.
freak on. Yeah.
Yep.
But there's that, and there's also, I don't know if it was here or a little bit later, but they have that robot toy, which is a callback to Poltergeist, which is kind of fun.
A little
Oh, I
later.
love Poltergeist.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, on to me. Lilia turns on the lights, and Agatha retreats once more into the shadow. The coven sees a mist on the stairs. It forms into a ghost. Rio announces she hates ghosts. The spirit announces it as Evanora Harkness of the Salem Coven. Agatha pops up from the loft and greets her mum, the spirit that was possessing her. The coven realize that they must finish Evanora's business. To proceed, they must complete the road without Agatha. Rio refuses to leave Agatha behind.
I love that you put mum in here, and now it like makes sense because we have a Brit reading it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Didn't throw me off.
Yes.
Did it all for you, Scott.
Thank you.
So this scene very much gave me Evil Dead 2 because when the dad spirit pops up in the house and talks to them, that was totally Evanora to me.
Nice, yeah.
Are you an Evil Dead fan, Scott?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a show I worked on had Bruce Campbell in it. It was called Lodge 49 on AMC.
Oh, cool.
I played a little role in that. I didn't get to meet him, unfortunately, but it was cool just being in a show that he's in.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
He was also in a show Kevin knows. It's something called Charmed.
Yeah, Charmed, yes. He was in Charmed. And funny enough, Andy, who was a character in Charmed, Evil Dead 2 was his favorite movie. So there you go.
Oh, nice. Agatha tries speaking to her mum. She asks her mum, "Why do you still hate me so much?" Evanora says Agatha was born evil and should have been killed at her birth. That's not nice. Evanora once more deadites Agatha. The coven rush to protect their leader. Alice unleashes a powerful blast that she didn't realize she had in her. Evanora is once more expelled from Agatha's body. Agatha starts to absorb Alice's life force. Teen rushes to the board to ask who is there. It answers Nicholas Scratch. His voice is heard asking Agatha to stop killing Alice. Agatha stops. It's too late. Alice is dead. Agatha comes to her aid, but Teen yells at her and tells her to stay back. Teen pleads with the other witches to save her. Agatha goes upstairs. So the inevitable question, did Agatha do this on purpose, or could she have controlled her power?
Well, I think she could have controlled it, but she also runs on instinct. So a lot of this was an instinctual reaction, but I think she was hungry for power. So even if it was instinctual, she didn't stop when she knew she could have too. So I think it's both.
Okay.
I would agree. She got a little taste of power again, blasted into her, which made her feel full, and her old self getting her purple back.
Nice.
And picked it just for this. But maybe she just got a little greedy and just didn't realize. Maybe she didn't realize she took it that far to that point, and then it was just too late. I don't know. Could be anything really. What do you guys think?
I would agree. I think of this like if she were a vampire and she hadn't had blood for a long time, and this was her first blood she was getting, she would want more, just like you said, power. So I don't think it was her intention to kill Alice, but she was reveling in drinking up that blood, drinking up that power. I have to think of everything in vampire terms.
It's possible that when she's getting blasted too, and she's feeling this sort of rush of power coming back to her, that it very much distracts what's actually happening to the other person, like not able to sort of really go, oh, I need to stop, kind of thing. So I wonder about that. This is all just, my sort of opinions on it. I don't know, but
I kind of feel the exact same way. Like, just that she didn't realize what was happening, but like, I for lack of a better term, I guess she wanted more blood. Like after not having blood for so long.
Oh, now I understand.
Yeah.
She was only supposed to eat a couple of scoops of ice cream, but she ate the whole pot.
Yeah.
We've all done it.
Ice cream again.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, because while she was kind of being possessed or fighting her mother, she kept going, I can be good, which was the same thing she said during her when the coven attacked her. So I'm like, that's an interesting callback.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Which was the beginning opening to this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. We also hear Lilia say, Knight of Wands here when Alice kind of went for protection. And this symbolizes passion, energy, and impulsiveness. So it encourages taking risks and acting with confidence, which Alice was all about after she, got rid of her demons. So that was very fun. This also is where it hit me that Lilia has been voicing a tarot card throughout the show whenever it seemed appropriate. It seemed random, but it was also appropriate to what was happening. So like last episode, she did 3 of Swords, and when she met Jen, she said the High Priestess. So she keeps saying all these tarot cards, which is kind of fun.
Interesting.
Very cool. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it will come back. We'll see.
Maybe. 12, Kevin.
12. Okay, thank you. Rio watches Agatha retreating with a knowing look on her face. The Coven are back out on the road. Agatha seems distraught over her action. She is able to manifest a small bit of power, and it's orange-colored, like Alice's power. Teen comes to Agatha in a rage over Alice's death because they connected, they bonded the best. Agatha tells him she can't control it. He doesn't believe her. The witches come to Agatha's aid. Isn't power and death the way of the witch? Teen refuses to succumb to either. Agatha warns him that he will succumb eventually and tells Teen he is so much like his mother. Agatha summons Pet to follow her.
Yeah, now he's Pet.
Familiars don't get a say. And all these little things, all these little jabs, I think we're getting to him too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great scene, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Really
Yeah,
great scene.
very much so. When Agatha, I forgot to mention.
Oh, not yet. Oh, no, never mind. I thought you were reading. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. When Agatha actually like sucks all the energy out of Alice, when you see Alice's body, I'm sorry, but the way that she just looked all like shriveled and everything, I just really didn't like how much her mouth resembled a butthole. like literally, like I was watching it with my husband, and I was like, oh, why does she have booty hole mouth? But yeah, I needed to share that with you guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
The episode is ruined for me now. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't watch the whole show.
I do
Oh,
that.
Go in
man.
the trash.
Yeah. Leaving you guys with that thought.
And that's-
yeah.
And we see Rio look down at her, and that's the last we see of Rio in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And notice too, when after Agatha, like, she does the thing to Teen and with her fingers, so much like your mother. After she took her 2 fingers off, if you listen to the music, the after credits of the WandaVision theme could be played. So that's your little clue. So.
Interesting. I noticed that. I have one of those crowns, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's awesome.
Let me go get it. I'll be right back.
Please.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Gorgeous.
Orange jelly. I want one.
Look at that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was gifted this by a good friend of mine, Daniel, who makes these, and he gave these to all of the cast and people that were at the Q&A, Scum and Villainy.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Very
I love
cool.
that. All right. Can I start scene 13?
You're good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Teen starts to power up as Lilia and Jen restrain Agatha. They're under his control. Teen has them throw Agatha in the mud. He throws the 2 witches in next. He throws the 2 witches into the mud next. We see Teen in his Wiccan guard. I don't know what's wrong. Sorry. We see Teen in his Wiccan guard, similar to his mother's, the Scarlet Witch. He's crowning.
And it's interesting. They play "You Should See Me in a Crowd,"
Yeah. Yes.
which is by Billie Eilish. Get it, Billie?
Really?
Oh, I never.
I'm like,
I like
oh.
that.
Well, cool. So that's the episode review. So before we get into our thoughts and rating, we're going to take a quick break for some brews and books
Oh,
on this
okay.
week's. All right. So I was afraid because Kevin, for my witch's brew today, was stepping all over my Ouija board, but luckily you didn't talk
I
about
know.
some of the stuff I
Okay.
wanted to talk about. So we're
Okay,
good.
good. Okay.
Witch's Brew.
On Amazon. So, real quick history lesson on a Ouija board. So, some people think that the name comes from the French "oui" and the German "ja," which would mean it
Yeah.
means "yeah, yeah" or "yes, yes." Other people say that the word Ouija comes from the very first time the board was used. Apparently, the planchette went to those letters, so that's where Ouija comes from the board itself. But the first were invented in the late 1800s. By 1890, that's when they started being more used commercially. And just like Kevin kind of alluded to earlier, the original function of a Ouija board wasn't to contact a spirit, it was to bring out your subconscious thoughts. So it's supposed to be the person with the planchette actually, they were supposed to move it. That was the whole point. But then later in the 1900s, because of the war, it became a much more spiritual thing. And then over time, as they were getting more and more popular, especially like around the 70s, they started being connected with murder. So people started saying the Ouija board told me to kill this person. So that's why they have like a negative outlook like they do today. So just a quick little lesson for you.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right, Ryan, let's solving for comics. What's on the docket for today?
All right, guys, we are actually going to be talking, let me pull it up, about X-Men 24. And if you guys remember in X-Men 23, we basically covered Cyclops returning to his body after being 10 years into the future, and Doug Ramsey was a horrible, horrible person. So in X-Men 24, we find out actually what happened with Beast when he went into the future. So instead of Beast from our X-Men, the chairman of 3K, I hate that name. I don't understand why they came up with that. Why is there someone in the Marvel Comics called KKK? But whatever.
True.
Yeah, we'll get past that. So in this, because it's a fun comic because we actually we get to find out a lot about 3K, kind of how they operate, all this fun stuff, and halfway through it, we do find out that the chairman that was away was the one that Beast switched minds with. We still kind of don't even know who this chairman is, though, really. It just says that he created, or that he has Beast's mind, and that he created a body from the Beast that he met 10 years into the future. And from that, he's actually going to be making the X virus that Doug Ramsey had in the future, and that's where we end it. Also, he killed Schwartz, a kid, because he was part of the X-Men in the future. And he said he didn't want to take any liabilities. Like, he didn't want him to leave or anything like that. So he was already just going to kill him. And that's the issue in a nutshell. What were your guys' thoughts?
So this is a hell of a comic for you to jump onto, Scott. This hurt my head a little. So
It did hurt my head.
There was a corrupt Beast who was killed, and then like there's a younger Beast that was cloned, but like the corrupt Beast that was killed, his mind got sent into the future and took on a cloned body of himself. It got all crazy. This is where X-Men is today.
But also, like, this is what I was...
It's based on a true story.
Yeah, exactly.
But go for it.
I was going to say, it also made me think, though, like, is this the Beast from Krakoa, or is this Dark Beast that's still in our dimension? Like, which Beast actually is it? Because we don't really have confirmation if it's Krakoan Beast that went evil, or if it is who it really is. Like, I don't know. I know that he was all about, like, putting his mind in other people's bodies and stuff like that with his cloning, so it kind of makes sense that this would be Krakoan Beast, but I don't know. I want confirmation.
I thought they said it was Krakoan Beast for some reason. I got that impression at least. I could be wrong though.
I saw
But
something in there about it, but I don't know the context.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do like, I know it's not popular, but I do like this idea of Beast growing evil because Dark Beast had to come from somewhere in Age of Apocalypse. So like it's interesting to me to see this evolution and see what he would become because he's on like this thin needle of like he's so smart. Which way is his intellect gonna go? So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, he was scary. Great white
Yeah.
scary beast.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, I don't think that Schwarzschild is dead. I think that like because I mean, if you think about it, he controls gravity. So like if he's thrown off of there, he could like slowly float to the bottom, and this might be where he actually becomes an X-Man.
True.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, like so they could
And
actually be making the future what it is.
true. And I like that Cassandra Nova is kind of like in charge ish. It's kind of like we're seeing a dark version of the X-Men because she's the Xavier and then she's leading this band of misfits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hmm
Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Oh, and this was
I'm
written
excited
by
to see where
Jed
this goes.
McCade. Yeah, this was written by Jed McCade, and the penciler was Tony Daniel.
Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kevin, this is where you get to just blurt out all your thoughts and then you go ahead and rate it for us. Hot like Sunspot, warm like Zorn, kind of hot and cold like Temper, cold as Namor, or freezing like Iceman.
Okay. Well, there's a few other things. Fun behind the scenes stuff. Joe Locke actually worked closely with Jennifer White, who was she was the movement coach for Elizabeth Olsen and Catherine Hahn in WandaVision. And they worked together to find like similarities between Wanda and Billy's magic, which is super cool. And the way you can see that the way that he blasted the two off the road, that was supposed to be a callback to her movement in Avengers: Age of Ultron. So that was fun. And Joe said that in the script, it was written as with a familiar looking hand gesture. Teen swipes Agatha off the road. So that's kind of a fun little note. Now, I have thoughts. Okay, so Rio says this was Agatha's trial. Before I talked about the air versus spirit, but I remember like after I saw this episode, I'm not gonna argue with it or not, but I remember thinking that this might have been Teen's trial too, because he seemed to be the closest to like the spiritual energy. Like, does he have a connection to Nicholas Scratch? But moreover, it was him finding his confidence and power because in the first trial, Jen kind of like found out that she can still do magic despite being bound with her potions expertise. And in the second trial, Alice kind of lets go of her demons. She fights the fear and the anger that she had and like is free to like live confidently. So it's almost like every time they find whoever finds the power, although Agatha found her power in this too. So it's very interesting. It could go either way between those two. So
She didn't find her power; she took her power.
She stole her power.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like this could be Teen's trial in reality.
Interesting.
Well, technically, this is kind of when he really joined because he was able to fly. You know, got a broom with everyone. So maybe, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And when do you think Agatha pieced together who Teen really was?
I with Rio signifying in the end of last episode that that's not her son, and also that she spoke to her son, kind of like right. That's who Nicholas stopped, or we think it's Nicholas. Agatha from doing that. So she right there, it's like okay, so that's definitely not my son. So who else could it be? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. The real like strong reality check was big, but I think the big key is because the fact that he could say Nicholas Scratch's name, he was under the sigil. So if he was Nicholas Scratch, he wouldn't have been able to say his name. So that was the big key for her. She's like, oh, like that's not it.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm. Good call.
I
Good call.
actually, I kind of think she knew since episode 1 in a way, because she kind of says
Oh.
like who's powerful enough to like defeat one of the Scarlet Witch's spells. So I think she kind of like was onto it, but she didn't want it to be Wiccan, only because she wanted so badly for it to be her son Nicholas, so that she could like have closure with him. So she kind of like was making excuses for him to be Nicholas.
Interesting. Mm. Yeah. So. Oh yeah, I have to go with my rating now, I guess.
Yep.
I had to get these thoughts out first. All right. No, this episode is so good, so fun. It's the shortest episode of the series, but they packed a lot in there. It's a lot. It's there's so much stuff to analyze, and the horror vibes are really fun in this one. So I'm giving it a hot like sunspot like usual.
Okay. Let's jump over to Scott. What are your thoughts and your rating?
Well, I'm a little biased on this show, so but it is a great episode. I think the when they get to fly up on the broomsticks and they have that moment when the music kind of swells up and they get to like really sort of connect as a group, and it's kind of cool. It's sort of like they're like having fun again, and I don't know. I really like this show. It had a lot of ups and downs. It was really really fun. And of course, I love the '80s vibe. So for me, it's definitely a big thumbs up. I don't know what the highest rating was. Let me see what he said. Hot like sunspot, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, the tower episode later on, is definitely the one. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Yeah.
Very nice. Ryan, how about you?
Hot like sunspot. I'm not changing. Like I said from the beginning, I just really loved it. Even though there was booty hole mouth, I still enjoyed this episode.
No more booty hole mouth.
Erase. I need that Men in Black flash thing.
Yeah.
The memory device. Good thing is I have a pretty bad memory, so I'll probably forget next week. So.
There you go.
Okay, good. And then I'll just send you the episodes so you could rewatch and remember.
Yeah, great. I'll edit it for myself and just chop that bit out.
There you go.
There you go.
No disrespect, Ryan, but yeah.
None taken. Yeah.
So I do really like this episode. I love the 80s vibe. I love the Evil Dead vibe, but I'm going to be a party popper. I don't like it as much as the other episodes, so I'm going to give it Warm Like Zorn. It just didn't... I feel like it could have been a little bit longer to like give it a little bit more oomph.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the worst I've rated an episode is the second highest.
You know. I think it is sad too with Alice because
Definitely.
Here she is all free and and she's doing her duty and protecting and that's so sad.
Yeah,
but
I like that switch that Agatha does when they come out and Billy's on her about what just happened with Alice, and then she's sort of got this moment where she's sort of like defending, listening, all that kind of stuff, and then she just kind of like does that thing where her face just kind of drops, and then she just sort of goes up to him like that and has that moment, like you said, with the fingers under the chin, the whole thing. It's got that really cool switch in it where it's like, oh, she doesn't mess around. She's complex. She
now
can
I'm
be
the
evil.
bad guy. I'm embracing the villain.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
And
like,
then
she's embracing the villain where Teen is embracing the hero. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I just think that the ending of that episode is one of the best endings with the crown and then like you said, the Billie Eilish kind of dropping in there. It's just like, such a good choice of song to drop in. Boom. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's
They
perfectly
know what they're
fitting.
doing.
Yeah. All right, X Factor.
X Factor. Mine is Wiccan. We finally get Wiccan in the MCU.
We can finally say it, even though we've said it maybe 15 times.
I know.
Sorry, guys.
My X Factor is, Scott said it's the broom flying moment. It was so witchy. It was iconic. It was beautiful. They were having the most fun. It was like a real bonding moment. And that's my favorite part of the episode.
Nice. Anybody else want to share for X Factor?
I'm just like you. Wiccan. Sorry, I
Wiccan.
freaking love it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. For our question today, for previously on, what are your thoughts on Ouija boards? I want to know, Sexy Xy's, do you think they're dangerous, a kid's toy, or are you just not sure? What are our thoughts? Well, we
I
already
don't-
kind of talked about it, so we already kind of answered.
I never thought of them as kids' toys. I never thought about
none of
buying them
those
off
options.
the shelf in Toys R Us, but yeah,
Yeah, none of those options really fit me with my thoughts on them.
definitely
Okay,
wary.
what would you add?
I would say
Demonic device.
tool,
No.
a spiritual
Tool.
tool, a spiritual tool.
Spiritual tool.
Oh.
That one's already on there. What are you talking about?
What is now?
Maybe the whole thing is a scam, like the Ballad of the Witch's Road. It's all
Yeah,
just like
it's
the,
true.
You know,
the legendary thing
Yeah.
to suck up power from us. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I'm going with
Yeah.
it.
Hey, I'm going there with you. All right. So our last thing before we close out here, we have a little game we like to play on our show, Danger Room Divas.
Come on, Gambit, can't you make this program a little tougher?
Oh, it's no gameplay. It's the danger room. It's where we train.
Danger Room Divas!
Simulation complete.
So Scott, you are going to be able to choose, would you rather represent a witch or an X-Men hero or villain?
What was the second one?
An X-Men hero or villain?
I like villains.
Okay, villain. And so that would mean, Ryan, you would be our witch for today. How does that make you feel?
Skeptical, but let's see how it goes. Yeah.
I have no idea
So-
what this is, by the way. I'm probably going to fail miserably.
No, you're going to do great. So
Get your
you're going to be
debate
randomly...
glasses on.
Yep, this is a eight. We are going to randomly spin the wheel, and you're going to get assigned an X-Men villain. Ryan's going to get a witch, and then you're going to have 30 seconds to argue why your villain would be better at a randomly chosen
Oh, beautiful.
situation than Ryan's witch.
Oh, God, I don't know much about X-Men villains. Maybe I chose poorly.
Would you rather be a witch?
No, let's just go for it. But it's, yeah, maybe we'll just make it up.
Okay.
That's the fun of it all.
That's the fun of it all. All right, so you get, actually, this is funny because we were just talking about him, Mr. Sinister.
Oh. There you go.
And then for witch, let's see, Ryan. It's spinning.
So is my anxiety.
Ryan gets Jinx Monsoon.
Perfect.
I love it. I love it.
All right. And then our situation here. Who would be a bigger Karen, Mr. Sinister or Jinx Monsoon? Jinx Monsoon versus Mr. Sinister. Who'd be the bigger Karen?
Fight.
He has a very powerful physique, and he looks like somebody who wants his own way. He looks like he probably takes no crap from anybody. I'm really showing my knowledge of X-Men characters here, but yeah, I think it's his way or the highway, and anyone that gets in the way of that is gonna probably have their last day on Earth or wherever they exist.
Perfect.
I
And
don't
that
know.
was
Is that-
perfectly done in 30 seconds.
He'll speak to the manager.
Yeah,
Eradicate the
to the
manager.
All right, Ryan. 30 seconds on the clock. Go.
All right. The reason that I think that Jinx Monsoon is going to be a bigger Karen is she's not going to be your typical Karen, though. She's going to be like a Karen, though, but like sticking up for like trans rights, drag arts, the Broadway. She's just and also she's the queen of queens. So she's wants it her way or the highway. Honestly, you get that title and you kind of gotta be a little bit of a Karen. So yeah, that one was hard.
Jigs Monsoon's hard.
Yeah,
She's so nice.
Good. I was just imagining
like the
Mr.
Karen in the right
Sinister
way.
because you have the figure down there. I was imagining Mr. Sinister having a complaint in Walmart. I think he's probably going to win. I think if he, I think even though you may get the worst person who works there, sort of like the customer isn't always right. I think they might just give in at that point and go, yeah, you know what? Sorry,
Yeah.
here's your $10 back. I guess I did shortchange you.
exactly.
Just leave.
Yeah, right.
All right, cool. Then next episode is Familiar by the Side, where we are going to have another new guest to the show who is someone that Ryan may find near and dear, but we'll see who that is next week. But in the meantime, Scott, it has been such a treat to be able to sit down and talk to you for this last hour and a half.
Yes, it really has.
Thank you for having me. This was super fun. I've done a bunch of things like this, but it's always just been, interview style with questions. It was just fun to hang out and just be goofy and have a laugh. It was great. It was super fun. You guys are awesome, and you are not inconvenient.
Yes.
By the way, that line has become a bit of a weird thing. It's like the interactions I get with it are just hilarious. When I do signings at cons, people were saying, please, can you just call me an inconvenient woman? I always feel bad. I'm always like, to Andrea, you are an inconvenient woman, but you're also really awesome. I always have to put something nice after it because I feel really bad, but they're just asking for it. It's funny. But yeah, it's become a bit of a thing now, that line, because watching the reaction videos when the episode came out, it was just a ton of them. There were like 100 different YouTube channels covering Agatha, and it was just like, "You're in what? How rude is that?" The reactions are crazy. Inconvenient? How?
Yeah.
Say that to people.
It's an iconic line, but also like super random, and I think that's why it stands out.
Yeah. It just leaves you in that feeling of like, what's going on here? What is this guy's problem?
Well, I've told Kevin and Ryan, because I will be seeing you at Pasadena Comic-Con tomorrow. I told them one of my two goals is to have Scott sign to Sean, you are an inconvenient woman. So I'm coming for you.
Yes.
You're prepped.
Maybe I won't write something nice afterwards. I'll just leave it at that. And you'll be like,
and an asshole. No?
And a terrible
And you have a booty hole mouth.
You're inconvenient and have a booty hole mouth.
Oh my god.
Now you're nothing.
Oh,
Even the other line was a little, it was fun. Super fun.
Yeah. Where can people follow you?
I put it here just because
Perfect.
when I say it, sometimes people don't quite catch it. But yeah, as Scott Butler Act is my full name with ACT at the end. That's pretty much my handle on all the platforms. I'm mostly active on Instagram. I'm trying to get better with the other ones, but yeah, I'm mostly there.
Very nice.
Awesome.
And do you have any projects or anything you want to talk about?
Oh yeah, have a movie coming out this year called Creeps of the Worst Kind, where I play a character extremely different to who I am, which was super fun. I just got the script this weekend for a new movie where I'm playing the main villain. Very sort of It-esque.
Oh, cool.
To be fun. Yeah. And then have another movie later this year, which I can't say too much about, but it's a pretty big budget movie where I'll be playing somebody also not very nice.
Mr. Sinister.
Watch this space.
You got your niche, I guess.
I wish. It's a few things. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Congrats on those.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Amazing.
And Ryan, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram at RYEORIO or find me in the Solving for X comments.
Awesome. Kevin?
Yeah, you can find my personal Instagram, KJEEZY87, or the other podcast that Sean and I do, Words of the Witches, about the Charmed magazines currently, but Charmed in general. Yeah.
And you can find me on
Witches. There you go.
Words of the Witches. You said it.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can find me on Instagram under Shawnee Havoc, or you can find this podcast on Instagram or on solvingforxm.com. We'll link you anywhere you need to go for merch, for episodes, everything. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Woo.